Dear students of second year BSc, welcome to all of you in the second year as you have passed your first year of BSc. Now, myself, Professor Dr. Magre sir, will teach you the subject geology, and in the syllabus of geology of our North Maharashtra University, KBC North Maharashtra University, we have to complete the 4 courses. Of them, 3 are theory courses and 1 is practical course. Among these courses, we have to see, first of all, in this semester number 3, theory course JU 301 is of physiology and it has 2 credits. This is discipline selective course, that is DSC 1, and it has about 2 credits. 2 credits means 2 hours per week, means total 30 periods we have to conduct or take lectures in one semester. Second discipline selective course is a theory course JU 302. This is of biochemistry. And third course is of practical as usual JU 303. In practical course, we have to study both physiology and biochemistry practicals. In spite of these courses, we have one SE course, that is skill enhancement course in section 1. It is apiculture, means study of apis, that is honeybee, and in AEC, means ability enhancement course, you have to select either English or Marathi course, that is depends on you. It will have 2 periods per week of the subject AEC, that is ability enhancement course, and this is your structure of second year BSc. Actually, this is only about geology and this is the additional course for the semester 3rd. Now, we will start our geology lectures of second year BSc, paper 1st, semester 3rd, JU 301, physiology. Physiology is a branch of science that deals with study of all the systems and its functioning, or the working of all the systems and their respective functions. In that, we have to study 5 to 6 units. Of them, unit number 1 is nerve and muscle. As usual, we have seen already in first year and in a 12th science all the systems of mammalian body, particularly human body. In that, nerve is the basic unit of sending the messages and receiving the sense of special kind. There are so many nerves in the body. They are supported by muscles, and these both systems are working unitedly very well in the mammalian body. In that, as per the prescribed syllabus of KBC North Maharashtra University, we will see the first topic, structure of neuron. Neuron is a very small basic unit of the nervous system which regulate all the nerve activities. Human body contains billions of neurons, and all these are communicates collectively and form a nervous system. Neurons make up the basic structure of our nervous system and conduct the electrical signals, to which we generally call it impulse, which carry or send the messages as per the requirement of the body. They send the signals or collect the signals from one part of the body to the another, that is from the brain to the target organ or from target organ to the brain. The nervous system is made up of various nerve tissues, and which are made up of 2 types of cells. The nerve cells, number 1 neurons and number 2 supporting cells. The neurons are the excitable nerve cells that transmit electrical signals and supportive cells are non-excitable but supports the surrounding neurons or wrap around the neurons and support the nerve cells. These both cells together work very well in the body for communication. These cells communicate all the organs to the brain and brain to the organs for maintenance of all its physiological activities. There are special characteristics of neurons. One, they have extreme longevity, means over 100 years they can survive, they can prolong its activity. Second, they do not divide. The nerve cells can be replaced. They are not dividable cells. They once formed only grows. They have a high metabolic rate and requires continuous and abundant amount of oxygen and glucose. As usual, each and every cell requires energy for its survival and proper working. So nervous cells are also performing their metabolic activities and perform the proper functioning. The structure of neurons in the nervous system, particularly in mammalian body, is studied in the laboratory commonly by some scientists in a fly Drosophila melanogaster, because this fly is a well animal for the laboratory studies to investigate all its activities to compare with others. In Drosophila fly, this is generally a fruit fly, contains around 1 million neurons, the same number as found in lobster. Lobster is an aquatic animal found mostly in marine. This number compares to 75 million neurons in the mouse and 300 million in the octopus. This is the basic information, but in human, as a grown and well developed mammal, the human brain contains around 86 billion neurons. Means tremendous neurons are there. They together perform all functioning of the body and regulating them by way of communication. Despite these, they are very different numbers in different organs. The nervous system of these animals control many of the same herbivores, from basic reflexes to more complicated herbivores, like finding food and courting mates. Actually, food and reproduction are the basic needs of all surviving animals. The ability of these neurons communicate with each other as well as with other types of cells and underlies all of these behaviors. They not only regulate the general structures, general activities or fulfillment of the food and survival, but also shows different behaviors. Most of these neurons share the same cellular components, but neurons are also highly specialized. They are of different types and different size, shapes and activities, and have a variety of roles. Now we will see the structure of neuron and its different parts. Nerve cells have two parts, that is body or soma and axon. Soma is somewhat large and globular structure having different branch-like structures, to which called as dendrites, and an elongated lower cylindrical long axon. In soma, there is a central cell nucleus which controls all the activities of the cell and helps to regulate the physiological activities. In the area of dendrites, some transits are there or some terminals are there. These terminals, which unite in between these two nerves, they communicate and forms a synaptic cleft in which the message is transmitted by some chemical messengers. Like variety of other cells, the neurons also have this basic arrangement, but these are of two different types. that is smooth and rough. It contains a nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, and other cellular components. These smooth and rough endoplasmic reticulums play a key role along with the nucleus. The neurons also contains a specific unit structure, as usual we have seen in the figure given at the adjacent side. They carry and send or receives the electrical signals that makes neuronal communications possible. Dendrites are tree-like structures. They are branched, they are quite away from the body, and they receive the messages from the other neurons, and they together form the specialized junctions called as synapse. Although some neurons do not have any dendrites, some type of neurons have multiple dendrites, and these dendrites can have small protrusions called as dendritic spines. Means the branches of dendrite generally called as dendritic spines, which further increase the surface area for the possible synaptic connections, and they can communicate through that synaptic communication, and they form in between both a small synaptic cleft through which the message is transmitted. Only the structure of nerve cell or neuron, if you will see, so the structure will be as like that: a small large body and a small dendrite. So dendrite also have branches, whereas the axon have dendritic structures at its base. All dendritic branches collect the messages, receives the signals from other neurons or other systems and other organs. In somatic body, in spite of nucleus and cell bodies or cell structures, some niçal bodies are there. Niçal bodies are formed by composition of these two structures, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum and ribosomes. These both together form the niçal bodies. Then the neck of this whole structure of neuron is somewhat narrow, which is connecting the soma and axon, is called as axon hillock, or we can say that neck of the cell. Then at the lower side of hillock, the main axon starts, to which called as initial segment of axon. It continues to form axolemma as the upper covering and ends to the synaptic terminals, where these terminals are as a small branched structures. Again, we will discuss something more about the neuron structure, how it works, how the hillock convey the messages, how axon terminals communicates. The signal, or we can call it that nerve impulse, which transmits or receives by the dendrites in the somatic body, and then it travels passively to the cell body through the axon. In the cell body, there contains a specialized structure, the axon, or we can call it as a neck, axon hillock, that integrates the signals from multiple synapses and serves as a junction between the cell body and an axon. An axon is a tube-like structure that propagates the integrated signals to the specialized endings of the nerves structure called as axon terminals. These terminals in turn synapse on other neurons, or if they are in connection with the muscles or target organs, they form such a specialized nerve and the tissue synapse terminals. In between these two, whatever the synaptic cleft is formed, through which the messages or the signals converted or conveyed through the chemicals released at the axon terminals, and that allows to transmit that signals or to communicate to the other cells. Usually the neurons have one or two axons, but some neurons like amacrine cells in the retina do not contain any axons. They convey the message through their terminals. Some axons are covered with myelin and some are not. Due to that structure, these neurons are also classified in different types of nerve cells. These nerve cells, which are covered with myelin, acts as an insulation and they minimize the dissipation of the electrical signals which are traveling through it. The signals, when travel through the axon, they greatly increasing the speed on conduction. This insulation is important as the axons from a human motor neuron can be as long as a meter, or we can say that generally of 1 meter. From the base of the spine to the toes, the myelin sheath which covers to these neurons is not actually part of the neuron, but it is produced by the glial cells for the protection and support to the cells. Along the axon, there are periodic gaps in the myelin sheath, and these gaps are called as nodes of Ranvier. And on the basis of these, the nerve cells are of different types: myelinated nerve and non-myelinated nerve. These nodes of Ranvier present on these myelinated cells are the sites where signals recharged, or we can say the charging of the signals time to time along passing to this axonal pathway is being taken up naturally by these nodes. Neuron is very important structure and it does not act alone, but it works along with all the communicating bodies or neuronal communication, which depends on the connections, what type of neurons they are, and the neurons mate it with other neurons or other cells. Dendrites from one single neuron may receive synaptic contact from many other neurons, and therefore many other messages may receive to the single somatic body, to the dendrite. For example, dendrites from a Purkinje cells in the cerebellum, that is brain structure, are thought to receive contact from as many as 2 million other neurons. Means in cerebellum, the very active and very prompt receptors of the neurons are located, and therefore maximum information is gathered there too in the cerebellum of the mammalian nerve cells.